Good afternoon. My name is Nancy Shepard. Along with Juan Marquez, we would like to welcome you to the Texas Natural Gas Vehicle Grant Program webinar. Some housekeeping before we begin. Our webinar has been pre-recorded, and today's PowerPoint presentation will be posted at a later date on the natural gas webpage. The question and answer portion of our webinar will not be recorded. During the presentation, your microphones, cameras, and the chat function will be disabled, and at the end of the presentation, we will have time to address your questions. During that time, your microphones will be enabled, and you can use the raised hand function, and we will call on you to unmute yourself and ask your question. We will also be including the question and answer function. To submit a question, click on the Q&A icon at the top of your screen. Staff will be monitoring and responding to questions throughout the webinar. You will need to click on Show Comment to see the answers. So with that, let's get started. The Texas Natural Gas Vehicle Grant Program, also known as TNGVGP, encourages an entity that owns and operates on-road, heavy-duty, or medium-duty vehicles powered by diesel or gasoline to replace it with a natural gas vehicle or repower the vehicle with a natural gas engine. Our agenda today will be as follows. We will address the program highlights, program requirements, grant amounts and eligible expenses, reimbursement, disposition, and reporting, application requirements, submitting a grant application, and lastly, we will finish with questions. We are expecting to open the program later in the month, and at that time the request for grant proposal, or RFGA, will be posted. It is important to review the RFGA before submitting your application. Program highlights include the fiscal year 2026 funding will be approximately $30 million. Natural gas is a first-come, first-served program. Reimbursement is up to 90% of incremental cost to purchase, lease, commercially financed or repower qualifying vehicles with natural gas. And then qualifying natural gas fuels are compressed natural gas, CNG, liquefied natural gas, LNG, and liquefied petroleum gas, LPG. Eligible applicants are individuals or entities currently operating a heavy-duty or medium-duty vehicle in Texas. Additionally, all business entities that apply must have an active registration with the Texas Secretary of State by the program opening date. On this slide, you will see a map of the clean transportation zones, and the eligible counties are in yellow. We will leave it here a moment for your review. Eligible project categories are replacement of vehicles owned, registered, and operated by the applicant, replacement of fleet vehicles registered in the Clean Transportation Zone, or CTZ, and repower of an engine in an existing vehicle with a qualifying engine, or conversion of an existing vehicle or engine with an eligible conversion system. Replacement of vehicles owned, leased, or otherwise commercially financed must be registered and operated in Texas for 2 years immediately preceding the application signature date. They need to be in operating condition with at least 2 years of remaining useful life, and the applicants must certify that they have legal authority to destroy the vehicle being replaced. Replacement of fleet vehicles registered in the Clean Transportation Zone. Replacement of vehicles currently owned by the applicant or vehicles for which a special ownership pre-approval has been submitted. Vehicles must be owned, leased, or otherwise commercially financed and operated in Texas as a fleet vehicle for at least the 2-year period immediately preceding the application signature date. The vehicle must have been registered in a county located in the CTZ for at least the 2 years immediately preceding the application signature date. Vehicles must be in operating condition with at least 2 years of remaining useful life, and applicants must certify that they have the legal authority to destroy the vehicle being replaced. The replacement of an engine or conversion of an existing vehicle or engine The vehicle being repowered must be an on-road, heavy-duty, or medium-duty vehicle that runs on gasoline or diesel. The vehicle being repowered must be owned, leased, or otherwise commercially financed and registered and operated by the applicant in Texas for at least the 2 years immediately preceding the application's signature date. At the time of repowering, the vehicle must be in operating condition with at least 2 years of remaining useful life. TCEQ may waive one or more of the ownership, registration, or operation requirements on a finding of good cause, which may include short lapses in registration or operation due to economic conditions, seasonal work, or other circumstances. Waivers are for replacement projects only. Applicants must submit a supplemental Form 1 program waiver request with the application for the waiver to be considered, and TCEQ will review waivers on a case-by-case basis. Applicants planning to purchase a fleet vehicle from a third party for the purpose of replacing and disposing of the vehicle must request pre-approval. Request for a special ownership pre-approval can be found on the natural gas webpage under Step 3, and it must be submitted at the time of application using Supplemental Form 1 waiver request. Applicants must complete a separate form for each activity. Qualifying replacement vehicles are a natural gas vehicle with a gross vehicle weight rating, GVWR, of more than 8,500 pounds, a new or used vehicle that receives at least 60% of its power from CNG, LNG, or LPG. If used, a model year no more than 6 years older than the current model at the time of application signature date. Certified by the Environmental Protection Agency, EPA, to the current federal emissions standards applicable to that type of vehicle or engine, or a lower family emissions limit, FEL. Certified by the EPA to emit at least 25% less nitrogen oxides, or NOx, than the vehicle being replaced, and must be of the same weight classification and used in the same application or vocation as the vehicle being replaced. Qualifying replacement engine must be certified to receive at least 60% of its power from CNG, LNG, or LPG. Certified by the EPA to the current federal emission standards applicable to that type of engine or a lower FEL, and certified by the EPA to emit at least 25% less NOx than the engine being replaced. The qualifying conversion system must be certified or approved by EPA for installation on the engine being converted, certified by the EPA to the current federal emission standards or a lower FEL, certified by the EPA to a NOx emission standard or FEL that is at least 25% less than the emission standard or FEL of the original engine, and certified to receive at least 60% of its power from CNG, LNG, or LPG. A vehicle, engine, or conversion system is not eligible if it is capable of operating independently on either natural gas or another fuel, has previously been awarded a TNGVGP grant, unless all previous contractual obligations have been met, or has received a similar grant or tax credit in another jurisdiction if that grant or tax credit program is relied upon for credit in the Texas State Implementation Plan. Grantees will receive the lesser amount of either the standardized grant amounts set by TCEQ or 90% of the incremental cost. The definition of incremental cost is the eligible cost associated with the qualifying vehicle or engine minus the scrappage value. TCEQ uses a scrappage value of $1,000 for replacement projects and $250 for repower projects. The list of eligible project costs for replacement projects can include taxes and government fees, protective in-transit insurance, delivery and shipping fees, factory and/or extended warranties, maintenance and service contracts, mechanic and safety inspections, cooperative fees, and manufacturer or dealer processing fees that are not related to financing. Costs to purchase and install the replacement engine or conversion system for repower projects include costs directly associated with replacing the existing engine with the natural gas engine or for converting the existing engine to run on natural gas. Purchase and installation of the natural gas fueling system and tanks. Cost of the new engine or conversion system, including taxes, duty, protective in-transit insurance, and freight charges. Cost of additional equipment that must be installed with the new engine or conversion system. Eligible repower project costs also include installation costs, including the cost to remove and dispose of the old engine if needed. Installation costs may also include costs to re-engineer the vehicle for the new engine to fit, technical design, testing, and other engineering services required as part of the installation. Associated supplies directly related to the installation of the engine or conversion system, and other auxiliary costs, including shipping costs, factory and/or extended warranties, mechanic and safety inspections, cooperative fees, service and maintenance contracts, and dealer or manufacturer fees. Ineligible project costs include, but are not limited to, any costs paid before the grant round opened, insurance premiums, finance fees and charges, salaries and travel expenses for employees of the grantee, expenses to any lobbyist registered in Texas, costs associated with preparation and submission of the application, administrative costs of the grantee, food and drink, and costs that do not involve an arm's length transaction. Applicants selected for grant funding will be required to sign a contract with TCEQ. Approved activities will be represented in the contract's scope of work. Grant recipients commit to taking all actions necessary to ensure the successful completion and subsequent operation of the new vehicles. TCEQ will enforce the terms and conditions of the contract and may seek the return of funds for noncompliance, as well as civil or criminal penalties for misuse of grant funds. Payments will be made on a reimbursement basis for eligible costs paid in full by the grantee minus the scrappage value of any incentives. Grantees must provide documentation to show that the grant-funded equipment has been received and paid in full. Grantees must receive all replacement vehicles or engines or complete all repowers and submit final reimbursement requests to TCEQ on or before the reimbursement deadline in the contract. Grantees must also identify and report any other grants, tax credits, or governmental incentives. The grant will be reduced by those amounts to ensure the incremental cost of the vehicle is not exceeded. If the grantee finances the vehicle, the reimbursement will be assigned to the company providing the financing. TCEQ may advance funds to grant recipients who are governmental entities on a case-by-case basis. Disposition takes place after grant selection and reimbursement. Within 90 days after reimbursement is issued, the grantee must complete disposition and submit documentation to TCEQ. The old vehicle and engine must be rendered permanently inoperable, completely crushed, making a 3-inch or larger hole on both sides of the engine block, and cutting both frame rails or other main structural components of the equipment in half, or permanently removed from Texas to a destination outside the United States, Canada, or the United Mexican States. This method requires an alternative disposition request at the time of application. TCEQ may allow an alternative method to render a vehicle or engine permanently inoperable. Applicants must submit a written, detailed explanation of the proposed alternative. If approved, the method will be included in the contract's special terms and conditions. If not approved, standard disposition requirements must be followed. The period used to determine emissions reductions for each activity is called activity life. The activity life will begin on the date TCEQ approves disposition for an activity and will end on the earlier of the fourth anniversary of the activity life start date or the date the vehicle reaches 400,000 miles. Annual usage reports for activity life are required to ensure compliance with annual usage requirements. TCEQ will provide the grantee with the required record-keeping start and end dates. For the duration of the activity life, a grantee must own or lease to purchase the grant-funded vehicle for the duration of the contract, register and operate the grant-funded vehicle in Texas. At least 75% of the vehicle's total annual miles of operation must occur in the CTZ. Applicants are to maintain mileage and location records for the grant-funded vehicle, maintain the grant-funded vehicle in operating condition, and obtain sufficient commercial insurance to protect against loss, damage, or liability. Next, we will cover application requirements. The application must include all pages of the application, required attachments, complete contact information, required signatures, and all the information necessary for TCEQ to review the application according to program requirements. Application attachments include a completed W-9, copy of state or federal identification if an individual or sole proprietor, copy of registration documents for replacement vehicle for the 12 months immediately preceding the application signature date, copy of vehicle title for replacement vehicle for 2 years immediately preceding application signature date. Also include color photographs for each vehicle being replaced to include front, right side, left side, rear, including tires, engine, and the engine plate. New vehicle or repower engine conversion system, purchase documentation, if required only if the purchase has already been completed, and the waiver request or special ownership pre-approval if applicable. Applications must be received no later than 5 p.m. Central Time on October 20th, 2026. Applications may be submitted securely by uploading the file to TCEQ Send. For applications submitted electronically, each attachment must be grouped by activity and clearly labeled, with the activity number at the top of each page. It is preferable that the application and the attachments be submitted as a single PDF, but it is not required. This concludes my portion of the presentation, and I will now turn it over to Juan to cover the application instructions. Thank you.
Thank you, Nancy. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. My name is Juan Marquez, and I'll be walking you through the Texas Natural Gas Vehicle Grant Program application process. During today's webinar, we'll review the major sections of the application, discuss important program requirements, and highlight common items applicants should pay close attention to before submitting their applications. Please note that applicants may request funding for up to 10 activities per application. One very important date to remember is the application closing deadline. Applications will be accepted until 5 p.m. Central Time on October 20th, 2026, or until all available funding has been exhausted. Now let's begin with the application itself. Section 1. Applicant Information. In Section 1, applicants will enter their organization and contact information, the legal name of the applicant, and the Federal Employee Identification Number, or FEIN, entered in Section 1.1 and 1.2 must exactly match the information listed on the applicant's W-9 form, including ownership and business type. If selected for the grant, the legal name entered in this section will be used for contracting purposes, so accuracy is very important. You will also identify both the authorized official and the designated project representative. Section 1.3. The authorized official is the individual who has the legal authority to sign documents and act on behalf of the applicant organization. Please ensure that all AO contact information is complete and accurate. The designated project representative, or DPR, will serve as the primary point of contact for any questions related to the application or project. Please ensure that all contact information is complete and accurate. If the DPR is the same person as the authorized official, simply select Yes from the drop-down menu. Once selected, you will not need to complete the remaining DPR fields. If the DPR is a different individual, select No and complete the remaining fields accordingly. Section 2. Third-party preparer's signature page. Section 2 should only be completed if the application was prepared by a third-party preparer. If applicable, select Yes from the drop-down menu and complete the preparer's information. This section must be signed and dated by the third-party preparer. A quick reminder regarding electronic signatures. Do not electronically sign the application until all sections have been completed and reviewed. Once electronically signed, the application can no longer be edited. Section 3 contains the certification of eligibility to receive state funding. All applicants are required to complete this section. Failure to submit this certification may result in the rejection of the application. Please carefully review the eligibility statement and select the applicable checkbox. If applying as an individual or sole proprietor, or if one or more individuals own at least 25% of the business entity, those individuals must also provide their names and social security numbers in the table provided. Sections 4 and 5, Program Certifications and Requirements. Section 4 and 5 outline the program requirements, certifications, and terms associated with receiving grant funding through the Texas Natural Gas Vehicle Grant Program. These sections are extremely important because they describe the obligations and commitments applicants agree to if awarded funding. Please take time to carefully review all requirements and certifications. You'll also notice several items highlighted in blue throughout the applications. These are hyperlinks that provide additional guidance and reference materials. Section 6 of the application is the vehicle and engine information. This section is where applicants will enter information about both the existing vehicle being replaced and the new vehicle being purchased. Section 6.1, Existing Vehicle Information. For each activity, applicants will select the vehicle category and enter details such as vehicle type, last 4 digits of the VIN number, vehicle make, vehicle model year, gross weight vehicle rating or GVWR. Applicants will also provide engine information including engine make, engine model, engine identification or serial number, engine model year, and fuel type. You'll also need to provide the EFC number for engines for model years 2003 and newer. The engine family code is a 12-digit emissions code required for determining federal NOx emission standards. Please refer to Section 2.3 of the RFGA for guidance on identifying the correct emissions category and units of measure. Section 6.2, New Vehicle Information. In Section 6.2, applicants will provide information regarding the new replacement vehicle. This includes vehicle type, vehicle and engine model year, fuel type, federal NOx emissions information. Applicants must also list the primary fueling facility where the grant-funded vehicle will refuel, including the physical address, the city, and the zip code. If the application contains more than 5 activities, continuation pages are provided for both sections, 6.1 and 6.2. Section 7, Project Cost and Grant Amounts. Section 7 covers project cost and funding calculations. Applicants will enter total eligible project cost, scrap value, other financial incentives or tax credits received. If the calculations are the same for all activities, applicants may enter the information under Activity 1 only. Applicants should use the appropriate maximum grant amount table located on the TNGVGP webpage to determine the eligible grant amount. Please remember that project costs incurred before the application submission period are not eligible for reimbursement. Continuation pages are included if the application exceeds 5 activities. Section 8, Annual usage. Section 8 addresses annual vehicle usage requirements. Applicants must identify the counties where the grant-funded vehicle will operate and provide the estimated percentage of annual usage in each county. To qualify, each vehicle must operate at least 75% of its annual mileage within eligible counties located in the Clean Transportation Zone, or CTZ. If the annual usage percentages are the same for all activities, applicants may enter the information under Activity 1 only. Certain projects involving the transport of raw agricultural products may qualify for an exemption from the 75% usage requirement. Please refer to the Appendix D of the RFGA for additional details. Continuation pages are included if the application exceeds 5 activities. Section 9. Disposition of old vehicle or engine. Section 9 explains the disposition requirements for the old vehicle or engine being replaced. Applicants must select the proposed method of disposition using the provided checkboxes. Any disposition method other than standard disposition must receive prior approval from TCEQ. If requesting an alternative method, applicants must provide a detailed explanation in Section 9.2. These requests will be reviewed on a case-by-case basis. Additional instructions are also provided regarding permanent removal from Texas, as well as alternative disposition methods. Section 10. Project Summary and Certification. Section 10 serves as the project summary page. Section 10.1 summarizes the applicant and contact information provided throughout the application. In Section 10.2, applicants will select primary project area, project type, total number of activities. Applicants will also calculate total eligible project cost and total requested grant amount. The total requested grant amount should match the combined totals entered in Section 7. Finally, in Section 10.3, the authorized official must sign and date the certification statement, confirming that all information provided is accurate and complete. Again, if using an electronic signature, please ensure the application is fully completed before signing. Section 11. Application checklist and required attachments. Section 11 contains the application checklist. This is a very helpful tool that applicants should use before submission to ensure all sections are complete, required signatures are included, and all supporting documentation has been attached. Required attachments include a complete signed and dated W-9 form, color copies of the applicant's driver license, photos of the vehicle being replaced or repowered, vehicle title and registration documents, and purchase documentations for the new vehicle if already purchased. Section 12. Application submission methods. Applications may be submitted using TCEQ send, regular mail, or express mail. Submission addresses and instructions are included within the RFGA. Please subscribe to our TURP Hot Topics email list to receive the latest program updates and announcements. The subscription link can be found in the Natural Gas Program webpage. This concludes the presentation and sample application walkthrough for the Texas Natural Gas Vehicle Grant Program. Thank you again for attending today's webinar. We appreciate your interest in the program and hope this overview was helpful.